do. Oh, see, always got to check what I got on my desk here.
I never did show everybody the thing that you sent me, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We were looking at flasks because this job drives people to drink.
And everybody knows what a lightweight I am, apparently.
Yeah, so I send him a 1 ounce flask. I figure, he can save half of it for later.
Exactly. I'll get shit faced on half of it. It's so true. Anyway, how's your week? How was your week?
Yeah, it's all right. We had a holiday yesterday, so
what?
Yeah, Makabucha Day. There's a lot of Buddhist holidays and stuff that pop up randomly, and then government ones and stuff. Yeah. So a day off is a day off.
Day off is a day off. Hey, real quick, whoever said hi, guys, we don't know who you are, so please go to StreamYard.com/Facebook and authorize this app so we can see your name. Otherwise, you have to put your name first, and then say hi, guys, so we know who you are. And that would be with every question, by the way. And the same goes for whoever just said hello. Please go to StreamYard.com/Facebook. And yes, we have to say this a lot.
Yeah.
But it's pretty cool. It's nice to have StreamYard because it allows us to broadcast everywhere at once. So we're not trying to bring things down and manipulate and then upload and all that kind of stuff. We get to do it real time, which just saves a lot of time for us. But yeah, we do have to ask you guys to do that.
Yeah. Howdy, Beck is here.
We see you. We see you.
Hey, Beck. Odele.
And hi, Heather. Yeah. So anyway,
how are things there? Did they ever find the dogs outside?
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. We had some excitement the other day here. We got up and there were cops in front of the house, and there were 3 cop cars, a bunch of cops, and 1 cop was standing like right on our porch and everything else. And I look over at my wife, and I was just like, I can't
flush the shit.
Yeah, I can't remember what I said. I said something like, delete the hard drives. She's like, what? But anyway, so that was pretty funny. But let's see. We have hi, Janine. Hi, Benna. It ended up being somebody next door actually got taken in. So great. It wasn't somebody who lived there. It was, I guess, I don't know, their kid or something. I don't know who was visiting. It was weird. And then a couple hours later, there were dogs walking around. It was mayhem. I mean, I don't know what's going on.
So the lesson here is, if you are going to do stuff illegal, bury the evidence in your neighbor's yard.
That's right. Hi, Audrey. Yeah, pretty much. But other than that, I think it's funny. It's people say, what are you doing this weekend? I'm just like, I'm a business owner. There's no such thing as weekend. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I've got my in-laws here, and apparently I'm taking a couple days off to go to the beach because, I've got to maintain my tan.
Right, exactly. So you're basically going to wear a parka.
Yeah. Whatever. I'm going to do whatever they do, like in what we do in the shadows.
Oh.
Or just carry like the head cone or whatever. I need that one of those cursed hats.
Yeah, love that show. It's a great show. Oh boy. Okay, so we're at 11:05. We've got John Hartness waiting in the wings here, and so we want to make sure that we don't make him wait too long. So we're just going to go ahead and start jumping into stuff a little quicker. So I'm going to jump over to headlines. What do you got?
A lot and a little, all the stuff we're doing, and then I keep saying this, but we're getting closer on book 7. Yeah, and we've heard that one for a while, but yeah, it always is. It's just fractionally. But other than that, just all the fun things we've been trying to get going, which actually has been fun because I like learning new things and trying them out, and it's not my money, so it's great.
Exactly. Yeah, you seem really enthusiastic about it. You're just like, what's my budget? Shit.
Yeah.
What can you?
No, I'm used to having a budget of 0, or so I'm used to that in my day job. I think I've actually had to pay for stuff there.
Oh, well, that's even better. I didn't know about that part. Okay. Budget can go up.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's let's see. Well, I screwed up huge earlier this week where the third book in the zombie apocalypse series that I wrote, I forgot to upload the files on time. I had screwed it up, and I thought I did anyway. Because of that, the pre-order got canceled, and then Amazon turned around and said, "Hi, Amaret." They didn't say that. I'm just saying, "Hi, Amaret." Amazon turned around and said, "Yeah, we canceled your pre-order. Oh, and by the way, you're banned from doing any pre-orders for a year." So, needless to say, I was not a happy camper with myself. A little bit fired up, but that actually was good because it caused me to revamp everything because I just got way too much going on and I was dropping the ball. So it caused me to revamp everything, which has been a very good thing. And then I contacted Amazon and just said, please. And so they're like, all right. And they gave me back pre-order ability. So, and it was like 3 minutes after I sent the email. So I beat the shit out of myself all night long, just like, and then I wrote to them and just said, please. And they said, yeah.
My orphan puppy just found a mole on his leg and, whatever. And that's bad because my aunt's grandmother's sister's nephew found out that he's going to be laid off from the dildo factory. And,
again,
you spend them the tail. Well, that's what happens when you smuggle them out every shift.
Right. Well, I mean, we are storytellers.
Yeah.
So anyway, but so they did that. They gave me back the rights, and it turned out good because I then just said, you know what, my bad, my fault. I had the book was releasing at $4.99, and I said, fuck it, this is on me. So I released it at 99 cents, and it's available until Sunday night at 99 cents, and then it's going to go back to its full price and send it to the newsletter. I got some newsletter, some emails saying, what's going on? Why is this canceled? Blah, blah, blah. So they were happy that happened, and it turned out good. So, live and learn. Aside from that, the first Last Letter book is with Team Dam. So it's graduated from Team Ass, and Team Dam is now reading it. And I actually was able to finally start getting writing done again after all the tax crap that had to go through and everything else. And so that was cool. So now I am moving through, the Lassiter thing, and I should be able to get back on track soon. I am behind schedule, but I should get back on track. And finally, no, we still don't have any news on the new project we're working on. So we're just going to tease the shit out of you guys for weeks and weeks and weeks. I can tell you it's really cool, though.
Yeah. So let's just completely oversell it. So to make sure that when it is just nothing, it would be.
This shit better do something because it's gonna be all right. So
I'm enjoying it. So it's fun, and it seems like something that you guys are gonna dig. So that's good.
All right, so let's keep moving forward because I know everybody's ready to groan when we do. Nail it. Go on.
All right. Such high stakes here. My father left me at a young age. He was only 5.
Jeez, that's just so awful.
When I was younger, I felt like a man trapped in a woman's body. Then I was born.
Wow.
Yeah, we need the sound effects for some of these.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. I wasn't going to get a brain transplant, but then I changed my mind.
I'm literally hovering over the eject button right now. It'll just be me talking to Sean. That'll be it.
I had some good ones, but I figured,
But you figured, let's not use good ones.
Well, I'll say the one that I was going to do, but it's a longer one, but just really quick, just because why not? I was in a therapy session when my shrink said, describe what you see here. I said, oh, that's my father yelling at me. So, okay, and this one? That's you having sex with my wife. And this one? And I said, aren't these normally ink blots? I
All
like
right.
that one. I don't.
All right. No, that's
All
good.
right.
Because you said that one. Another guy goes, the ink blot one, Rorschach test is what it's called, I think, right?
Yeah.
So the guy's trying to figure out what's wrong with this guy and all this kind of stuff. He says, answer these questions. And so he says, take a look at this and tell me what you see. The guy looks at it and he says, oh, that's a guy and a girl doing it in the back of a car. And he's just like, okay, what about this one? That's a guy and a girl doing it on a couch. He goes, What about this one? Oh, that's a guy and a girl doing it on the kitchen table. He goes, I think I know what your problem is, sir. The guy's like, what? He says, all you think about is sex. He goes, hey, man, they're your pictures.
Yeah.
Hi, Carolyn. All right. With that, let's go ahead and bring in Mr. Hart. Hey.
Hey guys, how's it going?
All right.
How are you?
So, of course, you dug deep into my Wayback Machine and found the picture of me making googly eyes at a toy duck sitting on a PBR can.
Yeah, my research into these things is very comprehensive. I Google the author's name, and if it kind of looks like him, I grab it. So,
oh no, that's really me. That was from a poker tournament outside of Philadelphia. God, 10 years ago?
Wow.
No, more than that. That was probably 15 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we had Rachel's cat as a picture last time, so at least this time we had pictures of you.
What the hell are you drinking?
I'm
Is
not
that
at liberty
like
to say.
Holy shit.
It has the numbers 4, 2, and 0 on it, and that's all I really want to get into.
I'm with you there. All right.
Yeah, my CBD is out there. It does help you sleep.
I'm feeling left out.
Yeah, well, I just found out like a couple weeks ago that they went from killing you for having this to saying, "Hey, we like money," so it's a good time to be in Thailand.
Yeah, anytime they're not wanting to kill you is a good time to be somewhere.
I never take it for granted, especially when I tell jokes like I did.
I just thought that was your gift to me as a comedy writer to set the bar so fucking low that anything I say is going to be funnier than that shit. I was like, man, this is great.
Oh, that's the deal. So you don't give away the premium stuff. If you want funny jokes, read our books.
I was going to say, if you really want funny shit, my OnlyFans account, baby.
Yeah, I keep saying I'm going to set one up, but I said here's the amount I'll need to not set one up, and it's not, either way, it's not working.
Yeah, it's like
I'm old enough to not be 100% sure what it is, but I am. But since it's on the internet, I just assume it's porn.
I signed up for it just for it to support one person that's actually funny. Not as a model, but for someone that's on there. As far as you know,
we believe you. No problem.
It'll take you $10 to figure out if I'm lying or not. So what's your budget?
I certainly don't care that much.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't think it takes $10.
But yeah, there's obviously naked people on there, but then there's people that are just treating it like Instagram and stuff.
Wait, it's only $10. Hold on.
Well, they set it to whatever posts and things. So if you want to set something up and do it, yeah. But yeah, there's
it's like porno Patreon, right?
Porno Patreon.
I think it started out kind of that way, but now there's people you would never want to see naked. Well, maybe you would. I'm not judging, but it's not on my radar.
Right, but that's why you get money because they take off their clothes and you say, "Here's $10, put it back on."
No, a lot of it's not even nudity. I was surprised. So it's just everyone moving on to the next thing. Maybe next year everyone will be like, "You want to sell books? You got to get on OnlyFans." All this shit moves around.
Well, I mean, look, it's always porn pushing tech. So
right, yeah.
Last year it was all porn, and now the rest of us who are much slower to adopt and figure out have moved on to the platform.
Yeah. It's either porn or games that push tech has always been the case. And if you make Even better.
And I am qualified to participate in one of those things.
Exactly.
And it's not porn.
Well, yeah. I read a book on making money on Pornhub, and I was interested because I'm just reading a bunch of weird shit this year. And it was interesting the way they market it. A lot of it is very similar to books because we're all whores to some extent.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, schedule this for these days because this is when people really want to jerk it, and and don't ever put it on here. And so I was like, yeah, I can see that.
So what was the day that people want to jerk it? I just have to ask.
Yeah, well, it's Friday and Saturday.
Friday and Saturday. So dare to be different. That way, so to get onto Pornhub around Monday or Tuesday, so that
you have Whack It Wednesdays, Tank Thursdays, or Tuesdays. Yeah, whatever your theme's going to be.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I'm doing a lot of really valuable market research here, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hide behind my pop filter.
Yeah, you're out of the splash zone. It's all right. It's not a Gallagher concert.
By the way, just to let you know, I know that you guys do podcasts and you do all that kind of stuff, and I don't know if you've seen this guy, but I had a full vocal booth in here and everything else. I no longer do, because this new microphone is freaking killer. It's amazing. And it's just something to think about because it's super versatile. It can even be used for book narration and everything. Because of the way that it's configured, it is not it's not a condenser. So it's not going to pick up everything in the world. Now, if there's like a bang, yeah, it'll hear that. But for the most part, it just comes straight through the top. This is a fantastic filter, but you have to buy the filter separate. The one that comes with it kind of sucks. This is the filter from the old microphone. But anyway, it's got all of these abilities, including the ability to make your voice darker, make it brighter, and so on. And, I've even used it for doing vocals for music and stuff. It's fantastic all the way around, and it's only like $250. It's not bad.
So I'm going to put up an affiliate link so you can get a couple bucks off of that.
But I know
that's from the porn manual too.
I know you do a lot of that stuff, and I know your other guys do too with Authors and Dragons. And so what I was going to say is, what I'm saying is this is a really freaking nice microphone.
Yeah, I'm on the Blue Yeti.
The Blue Yeti, yeah.
That I bought on woot.com for $60 like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And this thing's freaking bulletproof.
Yeah, no, it's great. It is. It's a great microphone. Absolutely.
Don't drop it on your foot.
Yeah, and I have the one that I used to have was the Rode NT1, which I had since like 98. I mean, just an amazing microphone. But I had a vocal booth in here, the whole deal, and for doing narration and doing all of these events and also doing the vocals and all that. And my audio producer guy said, "Dude, I just got this, and holy crap!" And so I picked it up, and we were doing a bunch of tests with it. Got rid of the vocal booth.
Wow.
Yeah, and that vocal booth was a monstrosity to have in here. So to have gotten rid of that and just replace it with a $250 mic, I mean, wow, huge.
Yeah,
anyway,
that's awesome.
Just an aside, sorry to go technical on everybody. Let's go ahead and talk to John about stuff.
Like Carolyn says over here, well, she brought up questions, but yeah, if you've got questions for John, we talk enough shit about ourselves. But if you got some for him, go ahead and send them in, and we'll get to them.
In the meantime, we're going to go ahead and ask you the stock questions and paste, and maybe throw in a couple in there, and so on and so forth. And so if you direct your attention to the bottom of the screen, you will see what got you into writing.
So I always wrote as a child, as a teen. I took creative writing classes in college, but then it kind of fell by the wayside. I got into theater. I was doing that for my creative outlet. And poker got me back into writing. I was at my parents' house over Thanksgiving in, I guess it was 2000 or 99. And this fat redneck named Chris Moneymaker was on ESPN making the final table of the World Series of Poker. And I was like, well, if this dumb hillbilly can do it, I can.
Right.
So I started studying Texas Hold'em poker. This was right at the top of the poker boom. And I found all these poker blogs that people were writing, and the poker blogger community had private tournaments every week. And the only way you could get access is to have a poker blog. I was like, okay, well, I don't really know what a blog is, but I'll start one. So I started a poker blog, and I found this whole community writing about poker and telling bullshit crazy stories about poker games that they've been to, trips that they've taken. And as the industry blew up, the poker blogger community blew up, and some of the people who were the better writers among the community got gigs working for the poker websites and the poker news reporting sites.
Okay.
And then the lower tier of us were able to follow their coattails and get them to get us jobs writing about poker.
Nice.
So I spent about 4 years covering the World Series of Poker and the World Poker Tour for PokerNews.com and for PokerStars.com and for Full Tilt Poker. And I did about 500 articles, was translated into 27 languages, and did about 500,000 to 650,000 words on variations of tournament poker.
Very cool.
Then I got in an argument with my editor. She thought I had a deadline and I didn't. I lost that argument, got fired, and decided I'll show her. I'll write the great American novel.
Right.
I got 2/3 of it. I am an American and I did write a novel.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
Some people say it's great,
For $5, you can go on Amazon and buy The Chosen and decide for yourself how great it is.
I have. I read that one.
That was my first novel.
By Chaim Potok? That one?
And I didn't do very good market research when I chose that title. By the way.
But yeah, I remember the story said that it got you fired, that book. It was at least,
Yep. Later on, I was working for a very conservative Christian organization. I'm not 100% sure why they hired me either, but they did. And the owner's wife read part of The Chosen and decided I was no longer a good representative for their organization.
Wow.
Yeah, that'll happen.
I don't think I'd get past the interview.
I was really surprised that I did too. But,
well, they probably didn't ask, like, in your spare time, do you write things focusing on blasphemy?
Well, I did tell them that there would be a lot of Fridays that I needed off because I went to science fiction, fantasy, and horror conventions to sell books.
Right.
And they still hired my ass.
Right. And it's just like, see, for me, it'd be like, now isn't that cross supposed to be upside down?
Yeah. So
yeah, remember when we said there's two things we don't talk about, and then we already here we are.
Yep. Yeah. So let's move on to.
So I'm a comic book nerd, and I've been a big comic book nerd forever.
Right.
So when the Bubba the Monster Hunter series and the Quincy Harker series started to get some traction, and my friends who had been having limited success selling their books expressed interest in writing similar stuff, I said, well, let's expand the Bubba-verse, as it were.
Right.
And since Bubba is the Southeastern Regional Monster Hunter for the Holy Roman Catholic Church, that by definition implies that there are other monster hunters for other parts of the country.
Which brings us also to, so I'll just go ahead and put this as part of that. Okay, go ahead.
So Bubba, a lot of people think that Bubba came about as being inspired by Larry Correa's Monster Hunter International.
Right.
Which there's a kernel of truth to that. I met Larry at DragonCon right before I started writing Bubba. And he handed me this butt-ugly lime green baseball cap and said, we're going to get in the Guinness Book of World Records for largest flash mob. Wear this hat and be here tomorrow. And I took the hat and I looked at it and it said Monster Hunter International on it. I was like, huh, that's funny. And I looked at Larry, who is a gargantuan human being.
Okay.
Like, I'm 6'1", and my head stops at his chin.
Oh, wow.
And as we say in the world of physics, which I am not at all a part of, he displaces a lot of water.
Right.
Yeah.
He's a big boy.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know, if anybody was going to hunt monsters, it'd be this big sumbitch. And then I went home.
So
and
it did inspire it, but his work didn't. It was him.
Yeah, I had not read any of the books.
I gotcha.
I hadn't read any of the books for about 3 years after I started publishing the Bubba stories.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't read his until way after yours too. I think I was like around season 2 of the Bubba shorts, or like pretty early.
Yeah, I was done with season 2 when I read the first of his Bubba stories. And there are some similarities in tone. He has some comedy to his, but whereas his is urban fantasy with comedy, mine are horror comedy.
Oh, okay.
They're straight up going for the dick joke.
Right.
His dick jokes are incidental.
Yeah, that's what we always say with our stuff is comedy first fiction. We do comedy, and behind that, pick a genre, because we do fantasy, sci-fi, Arthurian. We do it all. Yeah.
So Bubba was fairly successful. And the reason I started writing Bubba specifically was I was writing the Black Knight Chronicles, and they're published by Bellbridge Books. Well, they only wanted to do 1 book a year. And I needed to write more than that to pay my bills.
Sure.
But they have right of first refusal on anything in the Black Knight universe. So I wrote something that wasn't in the Black Knight universe.
There you go.
And never the twain shall meet. And I messaged my publisher and said, I'm doing this other project. It does not affect what you're working on. And she said, okay, go with God.
Cool.
So yeah, which is great, because now when you cross over with yourself, you have to just pay yourself the royalties and things. You can refuse it if you want to.
Exactly.
So that kind of jumps me to, and it might be a related question with the co-authors thing.
My big fat mouth. I'm on the convention circuit.
Yep.
Pretty heavily.
That's where I met you. I met you in Raleigh.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we met online, obviously, but yeah, we met here.
The first time we met face to face was in Raleigh at a big con.
Yep.
So, being on the convention circuit, I meet a lot of writers. Some of them are mid-list writers, some of them are big-name writers, and some are just starting out or just trying to. I ran into a lot of people who didn't have a break. They just needed a little oomph, or somebody with a little marketing savvy. And some friends of mine had been working on a book for about 4 years, and they had gone through revision after revision, sent it to agent after agent, to press after press. And they came up to me at Con Carolinas one June and said, well, we're just not getting anywhere with this. If we don't sell it by the end of the year, we're just going to self-publish it. And I said, oh, please, Jesus, don't. And they looked a little upset. And they're like, why shouldn't we? You self-publish. I said, yeah. And it's not for everyone, and you are the people it's not for.
Right.
You are tenure-track English professors, both of you starting a family, and you suck at social media like a goddamn Hoover. You should not self-publish, because you will not make a dime. And I said, look, this is a good book. It's a very good book. If you can't sell it by the end of the year, I'll publish the damn thing. Long about December, I get an email.
You're like,
remember when you said...
Yeah, I was drinking that day.
I was high on codeine cough syrup.
Nice.
But I said, yeah, all right. That book is called Changeling's Fall. It's book 1 of the Iced-Fod Chronicles by Emily Leverett and Sarah Joy Adams. And book 3 will come out this summer.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah, and along with the publisher thing, it's interesting, which I was just reminded by something you posted today, yesterday, whatever time zone shit, that you're one of the few that will actually take a series that's been dropped by somebody else and keep going with it.
Yeah, most people won't do that because if you're Tor and a book doesn't sell 30, 40, 50,000 units, then it's not worth your money. Mm-hmm. Well, if a Tor book sells 15,000 units, it's a failure. If a Falstaff book sells 15,000 units, it's a goddamn fireworks show.
It's like champagne.
Because our scale is so much smaller.
Sure.
And we're not paying $5,000 for a hand-painted cover by Chris McGrath or $10,000 for Michael Whalen art. And we don't have $40,000 salaries for our assistant editors and 10,000 copy print runs. Our overhead is so much lower that a book that is a massive failure for a big press can be a huge hit for somebody our size.
Yeah.
So I have friends who've written fantastic books and they got dropped in the middle of the run because it didn't hit that 20, 50, 75,000 unit sale number that a big press needs to keep going. But for me, it's a very profitable book. And my friends get to complete or continue the series, and we all make a little bit of money.
So do you continue, are you still taking on authors, or do you have like a limit where you're like, I'm done, I hold off, or do you do like a certain number every year? I mean, how do you usually work that?
Well, we are open for submissions until midnight tomorrow.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're open 1 month out of either every 1 or 2 years.
Okay.
And it's always the month of February.
Okay.
Because it's the shortest month.
Okay.
So we're always taking new authors. I just picked up the Drifting Land Saga by Joseph Brassi, who's on Authors and Dragons, that he got dropped after 2 books with Angry Robot. And I love these books. I think they're amazing, and I was thrilled to pick them up.
Right.
So we're continuing to do that, and we do 50 to 60 books a year,
cool.
Which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But we've built a pretty good team, and I would like to scale that back a little. I'd like to top out at about 40 books a year. It'll be 23 or 24 before I can get scaled back that much, because we just have so much in the pipeline.
Right.
And as people finish series, their interest changes, their interest wanes. You know, Chris Jackson has a trilogy with us that wraps up this summer. Well, that trilogy's done. Story's complete. So I bought another trilogy from Chris.
Okay. Yeah. Get him moving. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Get to work. Yeah. That's cool though. I mean, so it's great that you found, you basically found your way into publishing in that respect. That's really
cool. I mean, as you know, the bar is so low in small press publishing for what makes an awesome ethical publisher that even somebody like me can step over it. If you just don't shit all over your writers, you're ahead of 80% of the field.
Yeah, that's true.
So by providing, just by paying on time, we're ahead of half of the field.
Yeah.
The fact that I believe we provide better editorial than most New York houses right now really does set us apart, because I'm working with authors who just came from New York houses, and they're like, you're making me work harder. And I'm like, yeah, well,
welcome.
Sorry they let you get lazy.
Exactly. And it's interesting because, you know, I've heard authors go, and I've heard readers say, hey, I don't see all these issues when I look at, like, you know, traditionally published books and stuff. And I'm like, you know, I hate to say this, but even just recently, you know, I've been rereading Terry Pratchett stuff, and I absolutely love Discworld. And I have found multiple grammatical mistakes, typos, and stuff like that, that I couldn't believe I was seeing this, you know, and it was like, so I went to one of the paperbacks, and I had, you know, the copy of it on the Kindle and everything else. Was maybe there's just something got screwed up. Sure enough, it was a typo in there too. It happens everywhere. I mean, we're all human. Yeah. Those issues, but so it doesn't really matter if it's traditionally published or not. There's going to be problems.
Yeah, there are always going to be typos. I mean, by the time a typo makes it to print for us, it's gone through all of the author's revisions, at least one run of line edits. So 1 to 3 runs of line edits for us, copy edits, proofreads, and page proofs. If that typo makes it to a printed version, let the poor bastard live.
It was intended. No.
It has so hard to get there.
Yeah,
that typo deserves a chance, man.
He's just like, I made it. I'm free.
Yeah.
So let's ask a question that's specific about your writing.
Depends on the book, and it depends on the month.
Okay.
Yeah, so because you're as a hybrid writer, is it different between like a Black Knight and then Quincy Harker or something like that? Okay.
Jesus.
Yeah, I don't know. The cat
wants to be on.
Puck says hi, and now he's going to run away because he's a cat.
Yeah. Got what he wanted. I'm done.
Get on the desk.
Cameo.
Right. Jesus. Welcome to 2020-21. Yeah. It does take a lot longer for a Black Knight book. My editor for those books is Deb Dixon, who is the publisher, and she is in the exact same place I am with Falstaff books. She doesn't take as many titles to edit because she knows that she's the slowest editor she's got. And I am the same way with Falstaff. I don't take as many books as our other lead editors because I'm the slowest one we've got.
Yeah.
So it generally takes most of a year between the time I first put pen to paper and the time we see a printed book with a Black Knight book.
Interesting.
With a Harker novel, it'll probably take me 2 to 3 months to write it. Snatched, which you had on your on the graphic for this, I wrote in a week.
Now, how many words was that?
That was 20,000 words. I jammed out 4,000 or 5,000 words a day and knocked it out in a week.
Yeah,
and it was a parody. It was basically a one joke book. So I just needed to get as many euphemisms for vagina into 20,000 words as I could.
Right. Boy, there's a problem we've all had. I think between what was it, Platoon F and Queen Arthur, how many ways to say dick? I mean, God, there's 1,000.
Well, yeah, you had the advantage there writing through different genres, so you could have different frames of references, go historical, futuristic. I mean,
true.
So you got to spread your wings, so to speak.
I got about 20 in one fight scene in a Bubba story.
There you go. It's
Was
great.
that the Sasquatch?
Yep, that is the scene affectionately known as Squatch Dong.
A Squatch Dong.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, go ahead.
So a Bubba book takes about 3 weeks. I shoot for 2,000 words a day, and I try to write 5 days a week. So a 30,000 word Bubba book gets done in about 3 weeks.
Cool. Yep, that's we hear that a lot with people. It's just like, some aim for 5,000 a day, which is pretty aggressive. Some do 3,000 a day. I personally do about 3 to 5. So yeah, for me, it's just like a PPD book can be. I've done a PPD book in a week, and they're like 50 to 60K. So it can be done. It's just, it is tiring to do that. So, and when you're writing 2 series at the same time, and you're giving 2,000 words to this one and 3,000 to this one, that's even harder. I'm learning.
Yeah, I generally can only focus on writing one book at a time.
Okay.
If I'm really cooking, I can do 2,000 words on a main project and 1,000 words on a secondary project.
Yeah.
But that's about my cap for anything consistent.
Well, plus you're also, like you said, you're also kind of doing editing too. And that means that, that editing is a lot more fatiguing than writing for me. I don't know about you, but it's very tiring.
Depends on the book.
I'm sorry?
Depends on the book, and it depends on the writer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And how clean what they're turning in is.
True.
Oh, I gotta go now. So yeah, I'll see you later. Yeah, because John's like, yeah, Eric, his books are so clean, and yours, yeah, good chapter.
No, it's tiring for me. Regardless, even self-editing is exhausting. And
that takes me forever.
My two teams will tell you, wait, you self-edit? Hold on, we haven't noticed that.
I don't really much.
Oh,
I generally write a pretty clean first draft, and then I'll do one quick pass through.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
And then it goes off to my editor.
Now, when you do your pass two, we were actually talking to Rachel Carr last week about this. When you do your pass two, I mean, I don't know about you, but I will cut a ton of crap and I will add a ton of crap. So my pass two is not necessarily a rewrite, but it's pretty significant changes.
Nah, mine's usually pretty much a touch up.
Right. Rock and roll. That's cool.
And that comes back from spending those years writing for poker websites.
Yeah.
When the stuff I turned in had to be publishable. I had to turn in clean copy because they wanted to go live an hour after I turned it in.
Gotcha.
Right.
So it was kind of a journalism approach where it's just
Absolutely.
like, you have to be able to deliver something that they can use. Okay, so now we're going to get into the stranger questions. All right. So
boxer briefs.
No, actually, that was a good question, though. Go ahead.
Boxer
briefs. Okay, yeah, I'm the same way. All right, and Noah, don't say commando.
No, I wouldn't. In Thailand, no, I'd spend all my time peeling. So yeah, gotta go with the tidy ones on there.
Tidy whitey for you, huh?
No, not tidy. Well, they don't even start out white, but they're not getting any whiter.
Gross.
Tidy yellows.
No, we've got the butt sprays and stuff here, so I'm good for that. With Rick Gualtieri bragging about his bidet, I'm like, yeah, I've been here since day one.
Yeah,
so got to get on that.
All right.
So anyway, about that question.
Yeah. I think I've seen you at 2 conferences now, both the same one, Raleigh, but each time you look a little different. So
because he has hair, we don't have
exactly. Well, I actually asked you about this, if you recall, because I lost a bet, and the bet was, well, no, I didn't lose a bet. Basically, what it came down to is if we had enough pre-orders on one of the things, Orlando Sanchez was going to dye his beard purple and I would dye my hair blonde. And so we hit the pre-order number and I was like, shit, I don't know how to do this. And so I contacted you and said, okay, well, what do I do? And you said, you go to somebody. I'm like, wow.
Yeah. You go pay somebody $100.
Yeah, it's just like, why would I do that? So anyway, I ended up getting like Clairol or whatever it was, and I just do it myself now.
So I'm a big dude.
Yep.
And I am sometimes considered intimidating or scary looking.
Right.
I understand the fact that I look like an extra from Sons of Anarchy. So when a big biker trash looking motherfucker in a black t-shirt says, "Hey, what do you like to read, little girl?" People run screaming. But when a big biker trash looking motherfucker with pink or purple hair says that shit, they're like, "Oh, fuck, it's Barney. I'll buy books from Barney."
So that's why you did it.
Yeah, I did it because I felt like it would help my in-person book sales if I looked more approachable and less like I was likely to murder someone in an alley.
Because you have the 1,000-yard stare at the con table when nobody's around. So,
yes.
Yeah.
And it does. It actually does help. So when we can do conventions again, I will go back to having funky hair, or at least pieces of my hair in funky colors. It's
There we go.
It's been a while,
Yeah,
since we've done anything.
So speaking of the the biker thing, I noticed you have tats. So what do you got?
So I have my semicolon, which is a suicide awareness tattoo. I am a redneck, so I have my kanji.
Yeah.
I have a quote from Neil Gaiman's Sandman.
What's it say?
It says, "Sometimes when you fall, you fly."
Okay, right on.
It comes from a quote from Sandman. Do you know what happens when you dream of falling? Sometimes the fall kills you. Sometimes you wake up. And sometimes when you fall, you fly.
Right.
It's almost kind of a Douglas Adams. Yeah.
Yes. And then I have my wife's name in a heart with roses.
So you intentionally got the tattoo that they tell you never do. It's,
Yes.
And then a dragon.
And then this whole shoulder.
A phoenix.
Is a phoenix.
That's nice.
That's nice.
Cool. And the back of one calf is a Celtic cross with a ring of fire around it.
Right on.
Yeah, John, or the other John Logson, you don't have any, right? So you're still virgin territory.
No, actually, I do have one. I got a tattoo of a bigger dick on my dick.
Yeah,
but it didn't work. No, I don't have one. I was thinking about getting one, but
I've got the semicolon coming up at some point.
I would have more if we didn't have the plague, because my plan when I went down for JordanCon last year was to meet up with my friend James Tuck, who did this shoulder, and get some new ink on my forearms.
Okay.
Yeah, I keep mine to where I can still wear short sleeve shirts and work in school and everything else, but I think I'm up to 14. So,
wow, really?
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because it's all hidden under here. But as soon as start, and there's my daughter's name and tie, and then all this stuff, and so yeah, I need to get some more. I've got the semicolon coming up at some point because not to drag the show down, but maybe people find it funny. Yeah, I tried to kill myself. So I that whole like the puzzle piece for autism and stuff. They kind of, that organization I wasn't quite as into, but I do want to get the semicolon at some point. I just got to figure out, as far as me, where it's going and everything else. Where did you pick? How did you pick position and all that kind of stuff?
I don't remember.
Because I remember when you got it, I think. And I'm trying to...
I don't remember why I decided to put it on my wrist, but it has spawned some pretty interesting conversations. Mm-hmm. My waitress at a Hooters pulled up her booty shorts to show me her semicolon very high on her hip. I had a great conversation with a gas station attendant in bumfuck Tennessee who asked me what that meant, and when I explained it, said that was really cool and talked about some people that they knew that had mental health issues. So I knew I wanted it to be somewhere relatively visible. All of my tattoos can be covered up with long sleeves. That was mostly for my mom when she was still alive because she really didn't like tattoos.
Yeah, same.
But not so much an issue anymore because she's well past giving a shit at this point.
Yeah.
And now all the books are going to fall off the shelf behind me as she asserts the fact that she's still around and is pissed at me.
Yeah. It's funny on mine because my mom hates them, and anytime she'd find out we get them, she would slap them. So we'd rat each other out, me and my brother, like
Nice.
just like literally just. But then my grandmother, who passed away this last year, every Christmas she'd give me $50 and say, "Go get some ink." Fucking what your mom said, you know. This is your money. Go get something. And so I'd come back with it before she hit it. It's like, you know, that's my grandma. I can't be disrespecting her.
Yeah.
So, you know, got to work the system.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we got to pick out what John's first one's going to be.
Well, I was thinking about on the back of my head, if you can read this, you're too fucking close. Back off. Because I don't like it when people get close to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe don't do that for the whole selling books at conventions thing.
Yeah, that'd be a bad thing. Well, I don't do that for it anyway. I'm not that kind of a outgoing person. I you know,
he'll have a really nice silk scarf I can wear, or what is it, the cravat, like the from Scooby-Doo, Fred, whatever he had. Yeah. So cover that up.
At one point, I had this album that I did, and actually, I had written a book. It was called Philion, and it was a sword. It was the sword. The band was called Krethix, and the sword was called Krethix, and it had two sides to it, and emblazoned on the sword were multiple things on each side. And I was considering, that represented the specific magic things that the wielder of the blade could do. And I was thinking to have one put here and one put here with the different, sides. And I didn't.
So you were going to He-Man it to where there's two sides to the same sword?
Yes, exactly. So that's pretty much it. All right, we're going to get to a question that we have been dying to know the answer to this one.
Oh,
and well, let's just put it up on the screen.
Oh, they were pretty squished.
Do tell.
So Rachel Carr, Ari Carr, posted a picture on her Facebook of homemade cinnamon rolls. And I posted, I want some. And Rachel, because God bless her, she's neurotic as shit, and is on deadline for me, and is neurotic about being late for said deadline. I mean, look, I think I've managed to hit one deadline in my fucking career, so whatever. Books show up when books show up. So she decided she would bribe me by sending me cinnamon rolls priority mail, which is awesome. Priority mail envelopes have a different level of cinnamon roll protection than flat rate boxes. Just putting that out there. So they were kind of like cinnamon pancakes with cream cheese icing.
Oh, I bet that was
They
fun.
were still pretty damn good.
I was gonna say that would not slow me down in the slightest.
It's just
It did not.
You eat it like an MRE.
It did not deter me. It the fact that it was the latter part of 2020 and the post office sucked donkey nuts.
Yeah.
So they took a little bit longer to get to me than they should have. Did slow me down a bit.
Yeah, as long as you're not green or anything. The post office is fun. I ended up just finally getting a package that was mailed just like at Christmas. But I got a pound of Twizzlers, and I snuck them to my room and ate them all yesterday. So,
oh my God.
Because I hadn't had those in like 4 years. Yeah.
A pound of Twizzlers?
Yeah, as a diabetic, it was a really good call on my part. So
Just for the next week, you do not have blood in your stool. You just ate a pound of fucking Twizzlers.
And they were the red ones. Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, don't do that with the black ones. Apparently the black licorice, that can get you really sick.
Yeah, some people have died from like eating an insane amount of them. Which, you know, it's not really a concern because if I was going to get that same thing shipped to me here, it would cost me like $50.
Ooh.
So, yeah, that's why I was like, well, you're already sending stuff like for my kid and everything else. Can you get me some Twizzlers? So, I was nice. I held one back and let my daughter try it. She didn't like it after one nibble. I was like, oh, okay, well, we tried.
Yeah.
I hate Twizzlers.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
It's kind of like those old wax vampire teeth that had like candy inside.
Love
Except all you're eating is the wax.
Yeah, okay, fair. But I do like that. Actually, it's funny. I have these things, which I just picked up from a Taste of Honey, or Past the Honey, actual honeycomb and everything else. And it's, if you look at the actual product, it's an actual honeycomb. Huh. And they're actually really tasty. And then you basically are chewing the wax afterwards, and you can swallow it, but I don't. But you're chewing the wax after, so it's kind of like chewing gum and so on. And I always have loved honey, but if you get it, processed and everything else, it's basically just sugar. So that's, legit honey. And so as I eat that stuff, I've noticed an uptick in like energy and such over the last probably 2 weeks now. And I've dropped 11 pounds, not from eating just that, but, just because more energy, eating less, more productive, even though I did fuck up with the pre-order. And I know you said that you've been there too.
God, yeah. I've done it twice, I think, and had to beg forgiveness from the Great River.
Yeah. Yeah.
One, I didn't fuck it up. One, they mysteriously canceled a pre-order on me.
Oh.
And I had my shit correct. And then the other one, I fucked up. And I was like, oh. And then there was one where I fucked up and missed the deadline, but I got it in like an hour after, and they didn't catch me. Because that's like the one system that's apparently not automated.
Oh, wow. Because mine literally was, I had fallen asleep. I didn't feel great. So I had fallen asleep, and I woke up and I went, I have a feeling that today is the day I was supposed to do something. And then I couldn't remember what it was. Because, you wake up, you feel fuzzy. You're just like, the world is like that. And then I just went, oh, shit, like that. And I ran in here and literally missed it by 2 hours. And son of a bitch. And so that was messed up.
Yeah, that sucks.
We do have another question for you from someone in the audience.
Mm-hmm. Oh, hi, Audrey. In normal times, in the before times, I played ridiculous amounts of Magic the Gathering. That's what the white boxes are. This is my Magic the Gathering table. Mm-hmm. There's 5,000 pieces of overpriced cardboard on that table. And then there's another 10 or 12,000 pieces of overpriced cardboard on storage shelves. So I play Magic the Gathering. I buy and sell Magic collections. And that's about it.
I've heard sometimes the old cards aren't worth anything. Like I've got like a box full of them that are 23 years old. And when I got them appraised, they're like, yeah, none of these are worth anything.
Some of the old cards are not worth anything, but some of them are worth stupid amounts of money. And recently, some of the cards that weren't worth anything have gone through the roof and are now worth a lot more than they should be.
So hopefully
I'm really glad that I gave those away now. That's no problem.
Speaking of Audrey, let me take a quick aside here. Benna Phelps, one of our moderators, ran a contest this week, and it was question content. Audrey, you won. So I don't know if you are aware of that, but you did win. So reach out to me, and
Congratulations.
I will hook up your prize for that. So she's going to get a signed copy of one of the first books in one of the various PPD precincts that we have in stock, which is right up there. All of those things. So I will let you know which ones are available, and we will take it from there. And every time I move the camera now, I get OCD. Sorry. Now it's all fucked up. I'm irritated. God damn it. Anyway, so other than that,
yeah, I could give you one, but the only one I have multiples of is this one, because same reason anybody signed up for it, because I have Pierce Anthony on the cover.
that's pretty much it, right?
I need to get a copy of that.
Yeah, there's a beta thing happening at Amazon that I can't talk about in a different format that I might be submitting this book through. So when that happens,
You can't talk about it yet, but since I'm not part of the beta for hardcovers through Amazon, I can.
See, that's the beauty. It's just like,
And
I
he
didn't
did-
know anything about this, John. Please talk about it.
And Noah didn't tell me about it, so he can't get in any trouble. But apparently Amazon is working towards beginning to produce hardcovers in the case-bound hardcover format. Now, when I say case-bound, it's this style of
You don't
hardcover
say.
where it's printed directly on the cover, not the dust-jacketed hardcover.
Nice.
Ingram will produce it either way already, but from what I understand, Amazon will at least initially be rolling it out in case-bound only.
Wow. So, yeah,
I'm not part of that beta, despite having 200 something titles on Amazon, almost all of which are available in print.
I'm part of a beta as well with them that may be related to that. I can't say.
Yeah.
I don't know about another one, so I can't spill it on that one.
No, that's the one. That's the one that you spilled about. So cool. Great. Yeah. So anyway, so that's what you're doing. You're not writing now, you guys, but you also have the Authors and Dragons stuff.
Yes, I'm a cast member of the Authors and Dragons podcast, which Beck, I know, is a listener to. She joined us at our Authors and Dragons con in Vegas. It's me and Rick Gualtieri and Drew Hayes and Robert Bevan and Steve Wetherill and Joseph Brassey, and we might be the worst adventuring party in the history of Dungeons and Dragons. 5 years in, we still frequently cannot operate our character sheets. And
was this something where you all knew how to play, or was it something where you were trying to learn how to play together, or you still don't know how to play?
Most of the cast were experienced D&D players. When we started playing, I hadn't played in 20 years or so.
Okay.
And Steve had never played.
Okay.
But Rick and Drew and Joe and Bevan were experienced players. Rick and Joe and Drew run other games in addition to playing in Authors and Dragons. And I think Bevan used to, but doesn't anymore.
Right on. Right on.
So we've been going for 5 years. It's comedy, fantasy, bullshit, tons of dick jokes.
So it's Twitch now, but you don't use Twitch for this, right?
No.
No.
It's on YouTube or wherever you can get your podcasts.
I got you. Now, is it video or is it only audible, or what is it?
It is. You're not seeing our faces, but Steve does cut together video. We play across Roll20, so he does video where you can see the maps and things.
Okay. Now,
and it'll bounce up our character icons and things like that.
Do you do anything on the back end, like World Anvil or anything, or no?
I don't know what World Anvil is.
Oh,
so no.
Oh, sorry. World Anvil is just a way that you can actually, you might want to think about it, because it's you can actually put a map on World Anvil, and then you can put like pins on it, click on it. I mean, it's a massive tool for creating your own worlds, creating your own maps. Great for authors too, doing all this kind of stuff. And then when you click on that pin, you can also do it through something called Legend Keeper, which is handled through Patreon. And some people like Legend Keeper better. you click on a pin and it loads a different map, which makes it look like you zoomed in, that kind of a thing. It's really kind of neat. And then, I mean, you can take it all the way down to a granular level where this character lives in this particular house, which is, now you see a picture of the house and then you click on that and it shows who's in it and all that kind of stuff, or a tavern or whatever. It's interesting. Anyway, it's called World Anvil, is one. Some people really like that one. I'm currently using that. Actually, Noah and I are using that. But I also have Legend Keeper, and some people prefer Legend Keeper. It depends on what you're trying to go for, but something to take a look into. You guys
kind of speaking of authors and dragons, most of you have written kind of origin stories.
Yes,
that you and E.M. Kaplan teamed up on yours. How did that start?
So at Authors and Dragons Con in Vegas, Emily E.M. Kaplan came up to me and said, "When are you going to write the Fandango? When are we getting the Fandango origin story?" And I said, "When do you want to co-write the Fandango origin story?" And she said, "What?" And then I said, "Let me clarify. By co-write, I mean, when do you want to have like one conversation about where Fandango came from and then you write the damn book?" And she said, a few months. I said, "Okay, then that's when you're getting the Fandango origin story."
And it was a lot of fun. So yeah.
Yeah, she did a great job. My contribution to the Fandango origin story was I created the character through playing him in Authors and Dragons. And when she wrote out kind of the idea she had for the book, I reviewed it and said, "Yeah, that sounds great," or "Let's change this and let's tweak that." And then I punched up like 3 jokes in the book, but it's her book. She wrote that thing.
Yeah, we got to have her on here too, because we had
my name is on the cover because I created the character and it is technically my IP.
Right.
But when we wrote the contract, she gets most of the money.
So there's good parts and bad parts. Money is generally accepted as a good part. So
Yeah, because I didn't do fuck all.
Speaking of that, which at least according to Rick, for Shingles, which seems kind of like a labor of love and stuff, how involved were you in the genesis of all that before you started writing in it?
Not at all.
Okay.
Bevan had this idea for, "Hey, I want to do this thing." We're like, "Hey, that sounds like fun. Maybe I could do one." Well, maybe I could do one. Well, maybe I could do. And then Bevan's like, "Okay, well, we can all do some, and it can be like an Authors and Dragons thing." And I said, "I can handle the layout, and we won't have to pay anybody. And I've got a proofreader who will clean our shit up, and she'll work cheap because she works for me."
Cool.
And
yeah.
I'm really good with infrastructure and logistical shit because I have the resources and I own a copy of Vellum. So laying out a novella is a process of less than an hour's work.
Yeah.
So you've got Melissa on that, right? And she helped out on the anthology a lot. She was really great.
Yeah.
So,
here's a question. Yeah. The Shingles covers, they look similar to Goosebumps.
They are similar in that they're horror.
I know for legal purposes, they are distinct in many ways.
No, it's a fucking parody.
Okay.
It's a Goosebumps parody series.
Gotcha.
It's like if Goosebumps were written for grown-ups and created by the worst human beings imaginable.
Cool. All right. Yeah, that's kind of because the first thing I saw when I remember seeing the Shingles, I was just like, "This looks familiar." and then I remember my kid reading Goosebumps books, and I was like, "Oh, I love these books." She couldn't really read. I mean, she was just sitting there like that. They hand her a book like this thick, and she'd be like, "I'm done." It was an hour later. It's like, "You're done." Okay.
Well, there's only like 8 words on a page.
Right. Well, what was the book about? And so what she would do is she would look at the cover She said it was about this guy. Like, oh, okay, way to break that down. Well, to be fair, she was only 17. No, but exactly. So
now,
yeah,
at some point, I'm fairly certain that because I do have enough mutual friends with R.L. Stine, at some point, I'm pretty sure a conversation is going to happen.
Now, I remember grabbing one of those books and just going, I want to check this out. This looks kind of neat. I read it. I was like, holy crap, these things are terrifying.
Yeah.
The R.L. Stine books are not a joke. I mean, they're just like, they can be pretty scary. And I was like, it's a good thing you really can't read this yet because I think you wouldn't be sleeping.
Ours are terrifying in whole different ways.
Yeah. I tried to rank at one point whose were the most like you're going to the lowest pit of hell and you're going to go there on a rocket ship, and then
Seven.
up to Well, there wasn't much of a competition.
Yeah,
no,
for lowest, but then working the way up. I told Rachel like I was sad that hers wasn't more depraved because she has to make up for the imbalance of being the only woman doing it.
Drews are typically the least fucked up.
Yeah, because Drews are
horrific. Yeah,
and then I'm trying to think like Steve is probably a close second for me, and then him and Rick depending on which one they're doing, and then I think you're after that. So then it's I posted the ranking at some point and I had stuff to justify it and for no fucking reason because nobody cares. But I was trying to look at it and like, all right, this month it's going to be a Bevan one, so don't be sober when you start it. And
So let me ask you this question. So with us, we can write dark, we can write serious, we can do all that kind of stuff if we need to, and there are stretches of the books that do have darker themes and so on and so forth, but we cannot easily it's hard to do that for us. It's all comedy first, so everything we do is no matter what genre we approach it with comedy in mind. We approach it with sometimes dick jokes, yes. Depends on the series that we're working on. Some are just, more calm. Some are even borderline dad joke. But you can't. But just saying, okay, I'm going to write nothing but a serious book. God, that's just like. What about you? Do you have any issues with that, or do you just find, life's already too damn serious? I love the comedy. I mean, what is it with you?
Well, my 3 ongoing series basically scale in the amount of comedy. Bubba is comedy first.
Okay.
Black Knight is comedic urban fantasy.
Okay.
I don't consider Harker to be a comedy series. It's a dark urban fantasy series with snark. Right. But there aren't scenes in Harker that are written to just be, this is a funny fight scene.
Okay.
He's a smartass, and a lot of people find a lot of humor in the dialogue and in some of the things the characters do. But that series isn't created to be comedy.
Yeah, when I read the first one, I definitely noticed because I was used to Bubba, and then the first Harker came out. I'm like, yeah, this is a little bit different.
Yeah, it's a very much darker tone. It's, and then I have a couple of, I have 3 works in progress that are unrelated to ongoing series, and out of those, one is a comedy action thriller. One is a straight serial killer procedural thriller, and the third is an action fantasy, high fantasy, Tad Williams, Ray Feist kind of book.
Okay.
Yeah, so, which is the Queen of Cats ones, right? Yeah.
Queen of Cats that one was pretty funny.
Yeah.
But this one,
so this is something that's not out yet.
Yeah. Okay. It's not even close.
No, this is a high fantasy, so it's, we're talking
elves and shit.
focused. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, elves and dwarves and half orcs and shit.
right.
Hero's journey kind of.
So
thing.
like a thing. Yeah, I get you. Like an epic type thing.
Not epic. It's
no.
no, it's a one book thing. It's not going to be a huge ongoing series, but it's I tend to call it adventure fantasy to differentiate from the grand sweeping epic Pat Rothfuss, Brandon Sanderson stuff.
Okay.
It's more like Michael J. Sullivan kind of high fantasy, fast paced.
Okay.
It's high fantasy with an urban fantasy pacing.
Okay. So with the single book, which kind of reminds me of Ted Williams' War of the Flowers or something like that.
Yeah, kind of.
I mean, I don't know. I haven't read it, obviously, but trying to think, because the trend is generally, unless you're Neil Gaiman, you're writing a series,
Typically, yes. And it's Kings of the Wild is the closest analog. God, and now I can't remember that writer's name, but it was a one shot, and he went back to that world for a sequel, but the characters for Kings of the Wild, that story was done.
I keep not reading that. It's I have it, and I keep wanting to get to it, and I just have not done it.
Really enjoyed it.
Nicholas Ames, or
yes. I really enjoyed it. It had a lot of those, for me, fun anachronistic dialogue and anachronistic profanity. And it was kind of built around adventuring bands as rock stars and as rock bands, and being burnout rock and roll trash. I'm very much down with that.
Ooh, do talk.
Oh, about being burnout rock and roll trash?
Yeah.
I was a lighting designer for 25 years.
Oh my God. For who? Just a bunch of bands, or?
Mostly theater and live music that would come through Charlotte.
Okay.
I designed a one-off for Ricky Skaggs at the Leaf and String Festival in Galax, Virginia.
Okay.
I designed a one-off for Yo-Yo Ma at the Fall for Greenville Festival.
Nice.
And I designed the I Am Lovin' You tour for the Avett Brothers.
So you've been around, and actually you told me that you did construction on the thing right down the street from me, the community center.
Yeah, that's right. I was in theatrical construction for my day job for 20 years. We designed and installed lighting systems and rigging systems. And then my side gig, I would do theater work and music on the side.
Yeah, that's literally maybe a 10 to 15 minute walk for me. I mean, it's like it's like a mile, something like that.
There are very few theater facilities in North Carolina that don't have my fingerprints on them somewhere.
Wow, that's cool. That's cool. So it sounds like you've done a lot.
Yeah, writing is definitely my second or third career. Right. I owned a small theater. I ran a theater company in my copious free time for 6 years. I've directed Hamlet twice.
Wow. So what's your favorite thing as far as acting? I mean, I'm assuming you've also performed. Who was your favorite?
Petruchio in Taming of the Shrew. I played Petruchio once, and that was a lot of fun because there was wordplay and banter, and I got to do physical comedy and stage combat, which for a big dude, having a very small woman throw me around the stage was a lot of fun, and it got my pro wrestling gig. It got my pro wrestling juices flowing.
Now we're on to pro wrestling. Go on.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
I saw that. I've just been a fan of pro wrestling.
Yeah, I know about that.
My whole life. I grew up in the Carolinas, so I grew up watching Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes and Rock and Roll Express. And, even just recently, some of the local indie shows. Well, I did a podcast called How Did This Get Booked? with a couple of local indie wrestlers because they live in my neighborhood.
Oh, wow.
So I went around the corner to Jake Manning's house, and we recorded this podcast about this really shitty CZW show from 1996 or something. And Gail Martin, who's another urban fantasy and epic fantasy author, she was on there with me because their gimmick is they bring on one non-wrestling fan. So, of course, the first thing Gail says is, none of this blood is real, right? And they're like, oh, no. They're beating each other with light bulbs. That's real blood.
Yeah, that's where we, in our last Southeast Asia book, they settle their differences in a Japanese death match situation. So there was like electrified stuff and barbed wire and everything else, explosions on the turnbuckles. So I was in heaven right now.
Booked an exploding barbed wire death match,
and that's going to be
John Moxley.
Yeah, Moxley is kind of wants to be the Mick Foley of the era. It seems like,
and he doesn't have to because he
can wrestle.
I mean, Foley was a hell of a worker in his day, but some of the stuff that he got into, he had to go there because he didn't have the big, chiseled, good-looking physique.
I mean, him and Terry Funk, anytime they got in the ring, it was like, we're not the best-looking dudes, we're not the best athletes, but we're going to bleed for you. We will
beat the shit out of ourselves for you.
Have you been watching the new Rock show, Young Rock or whatever?
I have not. Not yet.
Yeah.
I don't watch much comedy television because most of it's shit writing.
Oh, well, Resident Alien isn't.
That's the only one I'm watching right now. And that's just John kept going on.
Is it as good as I hoped?
Oh my god,
it's good. Anything Alan Tudyk is, or I should say his name, is great. Like, he was the best part of Doom Patrol for me, and
you should really check it out. It's really good. And I mean, there are moments where it gets kind of like, it goes like this as far as like the comedy, but man, he is good.
Are you guys watching WandaVision?
Yeah, that's where I saw your post. Like, at the same time, I'm like, yep, no social media because someone's gonna fuck with me. So I'm like, we've got down to like less than a day spoilers, and it's like, if there was ever a time where you can go through the screen and strangle somebody.
Is it funny or is it like violent and stuff? If it's violence and shit, I don't watch them.
It's not violent. It's very dramatic.
It's dramatic. Okay.
Yeah. It's very smart.
Okay.
Now, I feel like, and I could be completely off base, I feel like unless you are pretty fairly grounded in the Avengers movie canon, you're not going to get it.
No,
then there's comic stuff. Like, I used to read Avengers West Coast and things. So I'm like, oh, maybe they're going to do this and everything else.
Yeah.
And,
nothing you can say, because then you'll be one of those assholes.
Well, I haven't seen the latest one, but I'm already, like, even news sites start putting stuff. Here's what this part means. I'm like, fuckers, give me a minute,
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Don't look.
I think I think this week's episode was the best of the series so far.
Yeah, I'm going to watch it after this, but it's on Disney Plus.
Disney Plus.
Geez, what is it, man? How many things do you sign up to? I mean, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, I've got a bunch. And I've got Funimation, I've got Netflix, Disney Plus, Hulu Plus.
But why?
Well, I can't get TV here, in Thailand.
It's still cheaper than my cable bill was.
Like in family, with family, what we kind of do is this is like, I have my kid and I'm like, look, you sign up for this one, we'll share passwords. We'll sign up for this one, share passwords. I mean, you feel bad, but it's just kind of like, I don't want to spend $60 a month for all these different freaking channels. The other thing you could do is just kind of go, wait for all the stuff to come out and then binge watch for 7 days and then get your money in.
See, in the pre-spoiler days, you could do that, but now it's like you have to watch the damn thing. It comes out at 12 and someone skims to the end at 12:01 and you're like, shit.
Well, yeah, but if you look, I never look.
No, I mean
Yeah,
it gets everywhere. Like even on my, if I pull up Google on my phone, like news will come down below it and it'll say, "Oh, this was really the bad guy" or whatever. I'm like, gee.
No, I'm joking about the sharing passwords thing. I'm actually highly against that stuff. But what I'm saying is, it's just I look at all these different things, and so from my perspective, it's like build up I wouldn't also do the thing where you do 7 days and then get your refund. That's dick. But it's one of those things where it's like pick one to go. I won't, just because then I turn around and go, well, with the amount of work that I put into writing, I don't want somebody to do that to me. And I know that these people still have to pay, their actors and the set people and everything else that goes with that. So I'm not going to do that. But
I think the only one I'm not on is HBO Max, but I'm on the fence for that because second season Doom Patrol is on there and other stuff.
I'm waiting to. I kind of rotate things out. Like right now, I'm watching a lot of stuff on CBS All Access. So when I get tired of CBS for a while, I will cancel that, and then I'll probably get HBO Max.
Right. See, there
and
you
like
go.
Right now, I have WWE Network because I wanted to watch the Royal Rumble,
which is going to get folded into Paramount. So
I'll cancel the WWE Network, and that and CBS All Access will get folded into Paramount. So, or WWE is going on Peacock.
Oh, Peacock, yeah.
So I cancel and subscribe to various things as I want to.
Are they at least commercial free?
Some are, some aren't.
It's so fucked up. It's like, here is my money and everything else. And you remember back in the day, all right, you're watching ABC, CBS, NBC, kids, that happened. And when you're doing that and you're doing it on your black and white TV with the rabbit ears, yes,
yeah,
these things happen. This was before phones. I'm not like,
I mean, telephones existed, but all you could do was
were this big.
call people and talk to them. And you couldn't carry it around.
Yeah, you're stuck on a cord, and you had to go where.
Which, for someone like me, this always has fear of missing out. I'm like, I can't go out because maybe that girl I met 3 months ago is going to call in the 10 minutes it takes for me to go take a shit. So
the phone is like pulled in.
Yeah.
And let's not forget I actually had 150 baud Volks modem for my Commodore VIC-20. And we're talking, I could type faster than this thing could send. So yeah, days are different than they were before. But what I don't get is, when we got HBO back in the day, you had to spend for it, right? But when you got that, you didn't get commercials. Now you pay for cable, and God, I mean, fuck, 60% of it is commercials. We sit there and it's just like, I wish there were a commercial channel, because then I could be pissed off that, damn it, they're showing the show again. It's one of those things. So now it's like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and fork down money on, Disney Plus. I'm not saying they show commercials, I don't know, but I've forked down money on this, and then all of a sudden I'm getting commercials there too. I'm like, so not only am I paying for access to this stuff, but you're still feeding me freaking commercials. It's like, God.
Or here's how they get you. Or you pay extra for the commercial-free feed.
Yeah, I'm a Hulu Plus person, so I don't want to screw with the ads.
Commercial-free.
It's just hilarious. It's just like, pay us $10 and you can watch our content, or pay us $50. You don't have to see commercials. It's like,
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm still okay with this method as opposed to the $80 a month I was spending on cable and still not getting the shit I wanted to see.
So that's a good question now. Okay, so I don't know how this is devolving into this. Sorry, everyone, but what the hell? Maybe you'll be educated.
No, we're not.
But the show's about us. So, so look. All right, so you have like what, Comcast? I'm assuming where you're. No. Time Warner is where you have.
Yeah, Time Warner.
Okay.
Or Spectrum now.
Spectrum, right. That's the one.
Well, funny, I'm on the Spectrum too.
So with Spectrum, you have. So you're saying that you don't get like regular cable anymore, or you just have basic?
I don't have anything. I have cable internet, and that's it. I don't get the Panthers games, which is the only thing I miss. but I don't get local news because I don't give a shit.
Okay.
I
So
read the
everything
news.
that you for news, then you get that online or whatever. But
Mhm.
as far as just like, you know, you don't get CNN, MSNBC, whatever, right? You don't get any
Nope.
of that stuff.
I don't get USA. I don't get TNT.
Nothing. But
No.
I mean, you can get like local channels, I'm assuming, or not even.
If I hooked an antenna up to my television and I didn't live in a completely tree shrouded dip where you can't pick up a goddamn thing.
So
Been
where do
there.
you watch it then? On your computer or
Watch what?
So you've just cut the cord
Whatever.
and you just subscribe to stuff.
WandaVision?
Right.
Where do you watch
Yeah,
it?
I watch it on my TV. I have a smart TV that ties into my Wi-Fi network.
Okay, all right. So I have the smart TV as well, but I mean we still have cable. So basically,
Well, I have cable for internet.
So you're pretty much trading cable for these individual networks.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Okay.
saving myself $20 or $30 a month.
All right. See, I didn't know that. I thought that you were basically. I thought you basically had to go. Shit, I have cable, and now I have to tack this on top.
Nah. Some things you do. Some content is only available on streaming services, which is why I don't have cable, because there's significantly more stuff I want to watch on the streaming services than there is on cable.
So it's like Netflix. Basically, I can kill cable, but I can still have Netflix.
Exactly.
Okay.
Which is what I've done.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. And like I said, literally the only thing I wish I had that I don't have is the Panthers games.
Yeah, I get that.
And the Panthers have sucked the last few years, so I'm not really missing anything.
Yeah, see, I'm an NHL Network guy, and I think I couldn't just get that. I think I have to be part of cable to get that. So
Yeah, they bundle everything, so you're going to be watching Home and Gardens and all those other stuff.
Yeah, the TV and all that kind of crap. Yeah. Exactly. And that's kind of the thing. I mean, we do watch, mostly.
You can get it on YouTube TV.
We watch like Food Network. We watch a lot of that stuff.
You can get the NHL Network on YouTube.
Oh, can you? All right. So shit. All right. Well, I'm gonna have to look into that. Well, thank you for the public service announcement.
Yeah. I had to hook cable back up a few years ago because one of my series was featured on The View.
Right.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Whoopi Goldberg is a fan of the Quincy Harker series.
Right on.
So she featured the books on the show as one of her top holiday gifts under $50. Yeah, it was pretty awesome. But I didn't have a way to watch it. So I hooked cable back up for a month. And then because I'm an idiot, I ended up with cable for a year.
Oh, right.
Because I
That's
forgot.
how they get you every time, Whoopi Goldberg. Yeah.
I am the person, I'm the reason that companies have mail-in rebate forms.
Yeah.
Because I will buy the shit and forget to send the form in.
There you go.
I am why that is profitable.
I'll bet you that they went to Whoopi and said, "Hey, we got another guy. We got to get back on the network. Can you?" Shit! Do I got to read this book? All right, I'll do it. Whatever. Because she gets $5, so it's like,
yeah. That was the weirdest day, man. She
Yeah.
emailed me out of the blue and said, "Hey, I'm a fan of this series," and we just started emailing back and forth. And then I decided that it was a friend of mine pranking me, so I made her send me proof of life.
Oh wow!
So she shot a video of herself backstage at the View and emailed it to me.
Wow. That's
when you're
really
expecting,
cool.
well, this was a nice dick pic, and then you actually got the thing you were looking for.
Yeah. I'm like, holy shit, that's Whoopi fucking Goldberg.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it was neat.
Hey, I'm surprised you didn't go, holy shit, it's Guinan.
I was not really I'm not much of a Star Trek guy.
I'm not either. Yeah. Never got into it.
Either series or just any of them?
I watched all of the original series, but I was in college when Next Gen first started, and we were all super excited because we're giant nerds. And we started watching the first few episodes, and we're like, this is a fucking repeat of an original series episode.
Right.
And then the next week, we're like, this is a fucking repeat of an original series episode.
Yep.
And after about 3 weeks of that, we just all said, fuck it, and never watched Next Gen, and then kind of wrote off all the other spinoffs.
Yeah. It's interesting. The first season of TNG, I didn't think was very good at all. And we were kind of like, disappointment. And then it actually picked up and got a lot better. And
I've heard that from several people.
Voyager was probably one of the better written ones. It was actually pretty decent. And then Deep Space Nine, it was okay. But for me, it's about space exploration or all that kind of stuff. So being stuck on, the space station, that bothered me. I know that there was the wormhole right by it and everything else, but it just wasn't the same thing. And unless they took off and went somewhere, then it was great. But yeah, so I'm with you. I understand. It's like that first season was, but most first seasons are kind of meh on different shows. These days, I think that's not as true. I think they're much better.
They don't have the time.
Yeah, they're much better. Now, okay, so I have to ask, Serenity, or I'm sorry, Firefly?
I enjoyed it.
Okay.
I really liked it.
Yeah, I'm pissed that it didn't continue on, and I'm sure a lot of people are. But I loved it.
I don't think I'm pissed that it didn't continue on, but I think that if it had continued on, it would not be able to live up to what we have created in our minds.
Of course not.
Yeah,
of
we
this
went
thing.
through.
Yeah.
We went through this with Star Wars. Everyone's like, this would happen next. This would be great. And then we got it and we're like, well, fuck. So someone got the monkey's paw on that one and wished for it.
But to be fair, if Firefly had continued on at the time and had gone 3 to 5 seasons, I think we probably would have been okay with that. But when you have such a layoff, yes, we've built it up.
4. We can't do 5 seasons.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Look at Buffy.
Yeah, fair enough.
Season 5 of...
I wasn't a fan of Buffy. I tried, and it was okay.
I didn't watch it when it first ran. I watched it later on, and I binged it and loved it.
Really? It's interesting. Yeah. It's like one of my co-authors, Chris, loves it too. It was good.
Never got
okay, but after a while, it started just kind of dying for me.
Buffy points out one of the great problems with urban fantasy in all genres.
What's that?
Yeah. So why don't you
much of urban fantasy falls apart if cell phones work.
Yeah.
Giles doesn't need to exist in a world with smartphones. You don't get trapped places if you can immediately Google your way out of a place. Cell phones make urban fantasy hard.
Yeah. Everyone has to get one bar or something.
I mean, magic, shield. You can't. Damn, my cell phone doesn't work. There must be magic around here.
My Black Knight guys just break their phones all the fucking time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they get thrown into things. They're like, there went another phone.
Yeah, see, that's actually funny. But you go like this. You go, wait, I have an idea. We can get this. And a bullet goes, shit.
And that's where like Dresden has to where like his magic fucks up anything complicated or whatever.
And fucking Butcher locked that in before the rest of us got to the genre. And I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah.
I already get accused of ripping off Butcher all the time.
Yeah, everybody does.
Because I am.
Don't we all?
I mean, I've said it on panels. I sat next to him and introduced myself as, I'm John Hartness and I make a living ripping off Jim Butcher. And Jim then said, I'm Jim Butcher. I rip off Joss Whedon for a living.
There you go. Well, yeah.
Inspiration. So out of curiosity, with the Whoopi Goldberg thing, I think I read the answer to it, but what kind of bump did you get from that for sales and all that? Yeah.
Nothing. Really?
Here's why. There are 2 reasons why. One, yes, The View has 3 million viewers every day.
Yeah.
Not very many of them are into dark urban fantasy with demons on the cover of the books.
Yeah.
And when I had the books, that's a print book audience. At the time, I had the books only in print through Ingram, and I wasn't double dipping printing my books through Ingram and KDP.
Okay.
So if you went to Amazon after watching The View and looked up Quincy Harker and wanted to order a paperback, it said back ordered. One ships in 2 to 3 days. Despite the fact that it's a print on demand title,
Right.
because Amazon didn't have it in their warehouse. And what I found out later, which we all now know, is that if you print it through KDP, despite the fact that they don't have any on the fucking shelf, they don't list the book as back ordered.
Right.
So because I didn't know that at the time, I feel like I lost the majority of what print sales I would have gotten. Now, having there we go.
Yeah, and that's at the top of
Oh,
your
that's
website
nice.
too, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's nice.
Having that has sold books.
Good. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, and I haven't seen her blurb anywhere else, so she must have learned her lesson.
Yeah. She's been great though. I sent her an email congratulating her on getting the Mother Abigail gig, and she thanked me and said that she'd been wanting that part for 20 something years.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's awesome.
So
So I don't see any
And
questions.
Go ahead.
since you're both wrestling nerds, you'll appreciate my one other famous fan that I know of is the Big Show, Paul White.
Oh,
who just went to AEW. So
Yes. I sent out a tweet a year or so ago after watching him play D&D on a YouTube show, and I thought he was hilarious. So I sent out a tweet and said, hey, WWE Big Show was the best thing on this YouTube game. And I got a ping back that says, Paul White followed you. And I was like, oh, that's funny. Somebody's using Big Show's real name as their. That's got a blue check mark.
yeah,
And
those are
then
fun.
I got a DM saying, hey, man, I'm a big fan of yours. And I was like, and then he said, haha, obviously I'm a big fan. I was like, Jesus Christ, that's really the Big Show.
That's
Apparently
like
he's a huge fantasy nerd
that's awesome.
and listens to a ton of fantasy audiobooks.
It makes you wonder who is listening to these things, because we know some people like Vin Diesel loves the stuff, and Joe Manganiello and all these. And so, yeah, and they're not. If you're watching this, yeah, reach out. We want to talk to you. But,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fun when you see that. Like when I got Gail Simone to follow me, and it's just the people that you look up to and everything. And
Yeah,
it's
she's funny as shit on Twitter.
Yeah, and you just can't outdo her and all this other stuff. So I would just throw out jokes and everything else, and eventually she did it. And then I got her for the anthology after browbeating her for a while. She actually got me to change the charity because we found out it wasn't going to be great. So she was great on that. But yeah, it's just
awesome.
weird when all these things kind of collide and you're not expecting it. And
Yeah, like every once in a while, Ray Feist will comment on something on my Facebook wall, and I'm like, that's fucked up, man.
yeah.
Well, look, I don't want to cut this short, but I have to cut this short. It's 12:45, so we're about 5 minutes over what we usually do on the show. Is there anything you want to leave the readers with, or tell them about something that's coming out, or anything else that you want to bring up before we call it?
So there's a brand new Bubba the Monster Hunter book out now. It's called Houses of the Holy, and it is the beginning of the Bubba Quincy Harker crossover that people have been asking about for years. So you should all go buy that right now.
Make sure you read Conspiracy Theory first, or you're not. You're still going to want to stab you for what you've done, but we'll have to.
Yeah.
They won't know the context for why.
Yeah, reading Conspiracy Theory, which is the latest Harker novel, will make it a richer experience. So really, you should just buy all of the Quincy Harker books
and the Bubba
and the Bubba books. Read the shit out of them for the next 48 hours, and then pick up Houses of the Holy.
There you go.
Yeah.
And if you're into audiobooks, I have an Indiegogo going for a pre-order for 3 Bubba audiobooks that will be released about the end of March.
Wow. Very cool.
All
Very
right.
cool. All right. Great. Anything from you, Noah?
No, I just wanted to make sure I got pro wrestling in there. But yeah, most of the stuff I've followed John for a really long time. I actually started reading his stuff before I read yours, like about a month. So that's going way back. So it's fun to talk some of these things out, because every time I catch like a Mid-South reference or something, I'm like, yeah, I got you. So, yeah. But no, this has been a lot of fun.
Well, thank you for coming onto the show. We really do appreciate it. And
thanks for having me.
You know, if there's anything ever that you have where you're just like, hey, I really want to, talk about this, reach out to me, because, I will share comedy stuff, especially with my group. So, just let us know, and we'll do that. And hopefully I'll be seeing you at a conference sometime once this freaking crap
I hope
goes.
so. I am currently scheduled to be at that same event in Raleigh at the end of July this year.
Depends on what happens, right?
We'll see if it happens.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like, somebody made the joke the other week about the DNA tests stuff, and you could get framed. And I was just like, well, if I got framed, at least I'd get out of the fucking house.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, thank you again. We're gonna go ahead and shut down, everybody. Thanks to all the listeners, and we will see you next week. Who we have next week, or is it Writing Boot Camp?
Writing Boot Camp.
Writing Boot Camp next week. So we will see you guys for that. And thanks again, John.
Thank you all for having me. Thanks for hanging out. And I'm going to go order lunch. So
Bye.